All free societies, especially those governed by democratically elected governments, endeavor to provide equal opportunity to their citizens. But how is equal opportunity delivered on ground? How is public service related to providing equal opportunity? And how do fundamental tenets of public governance related to public service? First, let's recall that the fundamental tenets of public governance are legislature, executive, and judiciary, and the definition of public service is the service provided by the government to the general public or its specific sections either directly or by funding regardless of their income, physical ability or mental acuity through professionally trained officials called public servants. Thus, the executive and the judiciary are generally termed as public services, but legislature is generally excluded from it, as it is usually not a full-time professional career. Both executive and judicial functions of governance are manned by full-time public officials whose services may be broadly categorized as follows. 1. Essential services. Services essential for basic living such as water, electricity, sewage and waste disposal, public transportation, firefighting and disaster management and so on. Although such services are paid as per their usage, however, their provision at reasonable tariffs is generally assured by governments through municipal bodies or may also be outsourced. 2. Socio-cultural services. Public health, public education, care of disadvantaged citizens, sports and cultural centers are some of the examples where services are generally provided free of cost, either directly or through provision of funds. 3. Infrastructure services. Construction of roads, highways, bridges and waterways are classified under infrastructure that may be provided through private sector but is available to all citizens free of cost. 4. Planning and statistical services. Urban and rural planning such as industrial, residential, commercial and agricultural zones, registration of births, deaths, marriages and similar demographic services and collection of statistical data are some of such services which are available mostly free of cost to all. 5. Regulatory services. Regulating exploitation of natural resources such as licensing of mining of minerals, communication and data services while keeping environmental concerns in check. 6. Sectoral policy making. Part of the regulatory regime is making of policies for various sectors of economy and society such as industry, commerce, labor, energy, family welfare, minorities and so on through various ministries. 7. Inland security. Maintenance of law and order and securing important installations like airports, power plants, public offices and so on through the mechanism of policing, paramilitary forces and industrial security forces. 8. Defense and military services. Essential and specialized services like Army, Navy and Air Force are commissioned in order to defend sovereignty of the country that is critical to our existence. 9. Judicial services. An extensive network of courts, commissions and tribunals constitute judicial services at various levels of administration for providing justice to citizens and protecting their rights granted by the Constitution against illegal civil and criminal misconduct by some individuals. 10. International relations. Usually carried out by professional diplomatic personnel, these services are managed by the Ministry of External Affairs that also regulates international borders by issuing passports and visa regimes. 11. Finance, revenue and taxation. All these services are ultimately funded through levying taxes on the income of individuals and corporates, as well as production of goods and services in the economy, and this process is managed by revenue services. These are some of the important public services rendered by governments, besides a plethora of others such as scientific, nuclear or space research and so on. Well, this is certainly mind-boggling. And now we understand how equal opportunity is provided by effective governance on ground. But how are public services delivered to citizens? Administrations at various levels such as central or federal government, state governments, district administration, city administration, municipalities, and down to villages. Public servants at various levels work tirelessly to provide these services to citizens. Also, for selection and manning these positions, there are statutory bodies called Public Services Commissions, both at central and state levels, whose full-time job is to select, train, and commission officials at all levels of governance. So with the range of services as wide, isn't a career in public services rewarding? Yes, of course. A career in public services is a unique opportunity to make a positive contribution to people's life. However, along with efficiency and honesty, it takes dedication and submission to a noble cause, that is, serving the nation. One last word. A career in public services cannot go wrong until we stay away from its known enemies, that are corruption, crony capitalism, nepotism, and influence by politicians.